What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Imperfect Action Show. I'm your co-host, Stizzo Speaks, and I'm here today with the lovely Dr. Ashley Little. I'm excited for this conversation. You all know the Imperfect Action Show. We talk to 6, 7, 8-figure entrepreneurs about their journey, some challenges, some success stories. They'll drop some gems. And we're going to discuss a lot of things today on the episode that has to do with women in business, a conversation about how do we elevate higher, how do we take on our leadership roles in a position where we get to the top, and some few other things, because Miss Dr. Ashley has an amazing resume, so many things going on in her world right now. So I'm excited to have this conversation. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for this opportunity. I'm excited to be on here to share some knowledge and just, hey, to learn some knowledge too. I'm excited to be here.
I love it. I love it. So let's start with, tell us a little bit about your background. Where are you from and what you're currently doing?
Awesome. So I'm going to keep it short because I know it's a lot of things. So I'm originally from Wadesboro, North Carolina, right outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. Currently, I live here in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm an award-winning serial entrepreneur, TEDx speaker, philanthropist, 21-time best-selling author. Hey, I love all things with creating and helping others. And if you look at my whole platform, I'm always creating tables for others and reaching back and bringing others with me, because I really believe that a true leader brings people with them.
Absolutely. So. All right, good old ATL. There's a lot of power and proximity in Atlanta. I'm noticing like it's the hub for, hey, Black entrepreneurs really doing their thing. So I love that. And what I want to talk about a little bit and get into is, with all these accolades, all the successes that you've had thus far in life, when did it start for you? Were you always a go-getter, like from birth out, or was it a moment in time where you just had an aha moment? Like, talk to us about that journey, because you do a lot and you have a fantastic resume. And I feel like it takes a certain type of person to get to this level.
Yes. And I'm going to say this, growing up, my mom was that stage mom. My mom and dad, they had me in everything. I mean, from karate to cheerleading to tap dancing, right? To acting and modeling, all that stuff, right? So I will say that as I grew, from childhood to now, it has always been that way, right? They've always kept us involved, my sister and my brother, very involved. And I really believe that really helps with me now being able to balance all the stuff that I'm doing, because it's always been like, there was always, hey, you get your work done, you do this, but you also participate, you be involved. Hey, my entrepreneurship started at a young age. Hey, I remember reading the Babysitter's Club book, right? I don't know if anybody remember that book. But hey, I went outside of my mother's house, and I had the whole lemonade stand. So I started there, pouring lemonade for my neighbors. And then I had my own tutoring company. So it really all started from a young age, just being involved and just being exposed to different people and, just different, mentalities of, hey, making sure, hey, you go get it. You don't quit. You're going to have obstacles, but you keep going, right? This is how you overcome them. So just learning those things. And a lot of that came from, just being involved, karate, tap dance, and things like that.
Okay. And what they thought, so like, okay, we got the lemonade stand. We're working on entrepreneurship. I started the tutoring program. Yeah. What were your goals like when you were younger? And was it tied to a specific goal that you wanted to obtain? Or was it really just driven by, I can't stay still, which is a good thing, not in a negative light, but I want to do something. I want to do more. I want to give back. Like, what was the motivating factor for you?
Well, at a young age, I just wanted to, when I read, like I said, I was a big reader. I'm still a big reader, right? So when I read the Babysitter's Club, when I saw all the things they were doing, I was like, I can go do that. So, at a young age, hey, I just wanted to have my lemonade stand and do my own thing, make my own money, right? Like most kids do, right? And then after that, I started a tutoring company, and my goal was, hey, I wanted to do something within the educational system. I wanted to give back to the kids, and I wanted to figure out a way I could do that and build from there. So those are my motivations then, when I first started out was, hey, I just want to have my own money.
Right.
Yeah.
I just want to have my own money at a young age. That's awesome. And are your parents entrepreneurs?
Yes, my parents are entrepreneurs, but they started out in corporate first though, before they became entrepreneurs. My dad owns his own trucking company now, but hey, before that, he was in corporate America, so.
Right. Okay. Love that. And that's very helpful too. So fast forwarding from Ashley to the lemonade stand to Ashley, Dr. Ashley, right? So all those in between times and spaces, Where did you practice your education into leading into becoming a doctor? Because you have your doctorate in leadership, right?
Leadership and coaching, yes. So
Talk to us
I
about that.
attended the number one HBCU in the country, North Carolina
Okay.
State University, HBCU grad, okay? And so, yeah, that's when I started, man. I'm gonna tell you, I attended the HBCU, and I can talk about it all day because I have one of my companies is the HBCU experience. It's nothing like it, and a lot of the motivation, the energy, the walking into any room and owning it, I got from A&T. And so, I would say that I definitely would not be the person I am today if it was not for my experiences at my HBCU, and of course throughout my education, but definitely it started at A&T as well. With that really like that push when you walk in the room, you own that room, and the sky is no limits. There's no limits. Like people say, the sky's the limits. There's no limits. You can do whatever you want to do. You only live once.
Right. We only live once. And that's something looking back, retrospect on my life. I went to a predominantly white school because in high school, I wasn't really focused on education and what's the goal for me. I was focused on just making it through because I was bullied in school. I always was in the guidance counselor's office. So I said, you know what? I just want to be a guidance counselor because she helped me so much through my high school journey. And so when it was time for me to apply to colleges, I was like, I don't know where I want to go. Like, I don't know. And so she said, you know what? You're going to go to this women's empowerment brunch at Bentley University. It was Bentley College back then, but now it's Bentley University. You're going to meet with this woman and talk to her. So long story short, I just happened to end up getting into their summer program. But if I had the option now, I would have went to an HBCU because to your point, it creates a different kind of dynamic and culture and inspiration in your life. And like when I was in college, one of my friends was pledging Delta, and she was like, I saw that on your profile. And I want to talk about that a little bit. And at the time, I didn't understand the connection to the opportunity, the relationship building, the potential of your life. Because in that moment, I was still stuck on, well, no, women never really got along with me. And this is a clique type thing. But had I gone, in my opinion, to an HBCU and been engulfed in the culture and really understanding what a fraternity, what a sorority means, my life probably would look different right now, right? So talk to us a little bit about that and going to an HBCU, getting that, you know what, when I walk in, I'm the person, I belong in the room, and then pledging Delta and how that's kind of helped you through the course of your life in terms of relationship building or getting on some of these platforms, if at all.
Absolutely. So let's just start back to the HBCU experience. It's nothing like it. I can't stress that. I can't explain it because, just being on the campus and you're just centered and covered with Black excellence from all over the world globally, not just in state, out of state, from Nigeria, Africa, Dubai, different places, right? And everybody is there to be great. They're there to be great. And our teachers are, they actually want us to do well. They want us to be successful. They support us. It's nothing like, and we're a family. If I see an Aggie in the airport or at a business meeting on a board, we're going to say Aggie Pride or just an HBCU grad in general, right? And right there, the door, if you can't get in the door, that's a door opener. Right. So that's the connection of being in the HBCU family, that it opens doors as well. And then tying it to pledging, right? When I became a Delta, it just opened up a lot of doors and being a part of a sisterhood, having sisters all over the world. And I'm going to tell you, I tell people it has its pros. Hey, when I'm in meetings or just trying to get, on stages or working with people and collaborating, hey, most of the time it's a soror connected somewhere. And has opened the door for me. I remember, when I first started out with entrepreneurship, and my mentor today, who is Dr. Vicki Johnson, she was a former VP of BET, which is not Viacom. She's a soror from Howard University. I remember being connected to her. And since I've been connected to her, the opportunities the doors have just became open in the media industry that I'm in, just in different things with the book, just in the things that I've done. She has opened so many doors, just that one connection, right? And so just having that and her being a soror and an HBCU grad on top of that. And so it definitely has is pros of opening the doors for you being Greek, being, part of a sorority or fraternity as well. Yes.
Yes, Absolutely. And talk about discipline, right? Because
Yeah,
going
yeah.
through that process, it teaches you a lot of discipline. I remember one of my classmates, because she couldn't tell anyone that she was pledging, right? And she would come in class, falling asleep, and it just started out of nowhere. So I was like, what's going on with her? And again, being on a predominantly white campus, having a couple of people pledge Delta, Delta wasn't a thing with this campus, right? It wasn't a thing that was happening. You had the white fraternities and sororities.
It teaches you resilience.
It teaches you discipline.
It teaches you
She had to get it together.
Yes, and how to overcome those obstacles and how to not quit. We have a poem called Don't Quit, And so, it definitely teaches you about life and has prepared me for the real world. Hey, but definitely pledging has prepared me for that. I'm just not gonna lie. But that resilience and that strength, to push through the obstacles, that is mind over matter, and it really has prepared me. And so going into entrepreneurship, that just having that experience has really helped me overcome and dodge a lot of, lot of things that I could have just not have done great in if I didn't have that mentality, right? That, hey, life gonna happen. What you gonna do about it? You're gonna keep going, right? You're not gonna quit. You're gonna be resilient. You're gonna have strength. You're gonna keep pushing. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel, right? It's right now. Don't focus on the right now. Focus on the future. Where do you see yourself manifesting? You writing those things down. All of that came with pledging.
Right. Wow, that's powerful, y'all. So if you're listening right now, I need you to understand something. Dr. Ashley is giving you the cheat code to your life, is to get involved in the right connections, get in the spaces with the people who are going to help you elevate because of the core values and the foundation, right? So, I mean, wow, that's completely empowering and inspiring. And talking about discipline and leading to entrepreneurship and deciding to be a serial entrepreneur and taking on many tasks, but also going into higher education, right? I want to talk about that a little bit because clearly you guys can see here, she is a doctor, right? Which means she went back and got her higher education. And I know sometimes right now we're in spaces where, especially on social media, there's a lot of coaches and mentors who will say, don't go to school. You don't need to go to school to be an entrepreneur. You don't need to get a higher education. And there's talks about, the waste of money and all those things. But for someone who is an entrepreneur and also has a higher education, what are some tips and feedback you would give, things that work for you and like the pros about it? And if you have any cons or the challenges with, going and doing both?
I would tell everybody, remember to do your research for you and understand that everybody's journey is different. Some people have been able to be very successful without, extra education. Jay-Z, a lot of people, right? Then you have some that they have both and they were still successful. So I tell people to always do what's best for you. And you're right about the internet, social media, everybody puts on whatever they want you to see, right? But at the end of the day, remember that everybody has a story. Everybody has a story. Everybody has a journey. And it's something you don't see. And that's why I say when people are doing well, be happy for them. Clap for them. Because you don't know what it took for them to get that win. And that's why I'm so big on celebrating every win, whether it's small or large. You celebrate every win. Okay? Because you don't know what it took for somebody to get it. Right? And so as far as entrepreneurship, I remember writing my first book, Dear Fear. And I talked about what pushed me out here to want to start my own companies and my businesses and things I went through. I went through an extreme form of discrimination in corporate America, like a very bad season of that, in different positions because I was on the executive team and everything, I went through that. And it was not a good feeling, going through that as a Black woman in corporate America. And that's really was one of the moments that pushed me out and say, hey, I want to create my own legacy. I want to build my own wealth and I want to start my own company because, hey, I don't, I'm bigger than this. Right. And so, but going through that at the time, it was horrible. it was horrible. And sometimes I did want to quit. I was like, what am I, why am I here? What am I supposed to do? This is a lot, right? And so I'm thankful for the mentors that I had during those seasons that I still have today that was able to help me, guide me through that, because hey, it's always good to have people who are 10 and 20 steps ahead of you to help you dodge some of those avenues that you probably wouldn't dodge if you didn't have that guidance. And then they also, I remember one of my mentors saying, make sure that you take what you're learning at those tables and build your own. So I tell people like, hey, it's nothing wrong with having your corporate, whatever you're doing, your executive position, whatever you're doing in corporate, and being an entrepreneur. You take that money and help build your company. You take that, you get to that table and learn how to build your own multi-billion dollar company. And that was the positive side of all the things that I was going through at the time, right? Hey, it's a positive in everything. Did I feel like it was always a positive in everything? No. Okay. Because that was, I can't explain. It was a horrible season. And then, during those times, I lost my grandfather in 2011. I went through a extreme amount of depression that nobody knew about. I tell people, you can smile. People that smiling all day, you never know what people are going through. Nobody knew it. Because I'm an energetic person. I'm always smiling. I'm always doing this, always doing that. But there was I was smiling on the outside, but I was going through a lot on the inside. And I went through depression probably for about 2.5 years, and nobody didn't know. So I tell people, like, you just never know. So be happy for people, and that's why I'm always big about, collaborating with others, celebrating others, and opening doors for others, because don't let the smiles fool you. Me and you have something in common. I was bullied in elementary school. I wrote about that in my book, and that helped me through life too, to understand that, hey, everybody's not going to be nice to you, right? Everybody's not going to like you, but you got to keep going. That's life. Going through that taught me that, right? Pushed me out there for that. And also let me know that, hey, when you're going through those type of situations as well, that it's not you, it's that person. It's something within that person that they've went through. They're hurting. Did I always feel like that when it was happening to me? No. So I always tell people it's a story behind everybody's journey, right? It's a story behind everybody's journey. And what I would tell everybody that want to continue to build and be great, embrace the journey, but also embrace the process, because the process is what's going to matter in the end. Because it's not, nobody's journey's been easy. Oprah didn't get where she was at today without being an easy journey, right? You're going to go through things. But the difference between a successful person and somebody that's not successful is how you handle it, how you react to it. And the difference is between who's going to quit and who's going to keep going. We all go through things. Everybody's dealing with something. But the difference between a successful and an unsuccessful is we're not quitting. We're going to keep going.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
I hope y'all caught that, because that was a lot. But it's so true. And the other thing I think about with having the title and going back to higher education and doing it this way, it gives you more access, and that's the sometimes unfortunate side of the world that we live in, is that we're judged by title often, right?
Yeah.
But it's about what's your end goal, what's the big vision, what's your plan. And Eric Thomas, same thing. He says it all the time. He went and got his doctor because he wanted to be able to get into different rooms. Did that force him to change his identity? Absolutely not. Did he change his story and his journey? Absolutely not. But it allowed him to speak the language of the people in those rooms and get the access. So that's a great point.
I agree with that. I can get in certain rooms that certain people cannot get into. I sit on boards. You have to have a certain qualification to sit on different boards. It is access. Access is everything. Absolutely. I encourage people, go get it. Get all you need to do to get in the rooms that you want to get in. And you're right. Whatever your goals are, figure out what you need to get into those rooms. I'm telling you, rooms will change the game. I was in a room this past weekend at a Women Doing It Big conference in Newark, New Jersey. Okay. I was being honored for excellence in entrepreneurship and empowerment. I was in a room with Master P's director of marketing, Coach Rizzo. Okay. I was in the room with Rachel Roy from I can't remember the name of the show right now, but Ready to Love, that's the name of the show.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the room with some major players. Lisa Ray was there. So you have to get in these rooms. Getting in certain rooms will really change the game. It doesn't take but one interaction.
Right.
One interaction to change the whole game.
I love that. I love that. And talking about getting in the room, right? Because there's some people who are watching who are probably like, woo, networking scares me. I don't want to network. What are some strategies that work for you when it comes to getting it? Like, you're already in the room because you're meant to be there. You're supposed to be there. So that's the first strategy I tell people is like, know that and own that you are meant to be in this space if you're there. But what strategies and tips can you give someone who's like, okay, I can get in the room, but when I'm in that room, I don't know how to activate. I don't really know how to make the most of that room, right? Because if you just go and you just show up, that's part of the battle, but you need to make use of your time while you're there. So what's some of the tips you have and strategies you have for maximizing your time in these spaces?
First of all, I like what you said. You got to own it, knowing that you belong there. That's the first thing. Second, don't be afraid of rejection. Be persistent. Sometimes people are testing you to see how bad you want it. Okay. So everybody's not going to respond right away. It's going to take you a couple months for some people for them to even respond because they are trying to understand what do you want from them. Everybody wants something. That's how people looking at it these days, right? In life, everybody's wanting something, but you have to have a servant mindset. You should always take the approach of how can I bring value to that person I want to connect with? How can I serve that person? You should go in serving. Serving has opened so many doors for me, and I still do that to this day. I believe in serving others, finding out what do they need help on. Everybody needs help on something, right? But it takes a person that has done their research, that's observing, and that's really wanting to get to know the person, having real conversations, actually getting to know them, knowing the questions to ask them, right? And also bringing value. When you get to the table, you need to bring value. Yes, you're right. You can get in the room, but can you stay in the room? Right. You need to have your strategy of the value that you can bring, but that's going to take doing the research, getting to know them, having conversations, being persistent, right? And also, I always tell people, if nobody gives you a seat, create your own table. One of my brands is called Creating Your Seat at the Table Media Brand. My magazine, my show, all of that, because I believe in creating your own seat. And then invite the people you want to connect with to your table. That's how you create the value if you cannot get into that room. Okay. You don't let a no stop you. Figure out other ways that, hey, if I want to connect with ET, if he ain't responding, how else can I connect with ET? Well, I'm going to interview ET. Everybody loves to be interviewed. Mm-hmm. Everybody loves to be interviewed. How else can I connect with ET? I'm going to invest in his workshop. I'm going to invest in his conference. I'm going to figure out how can I serve there? Even if I have to pour the water, right? Figure out ways you can serve and bring value, and that will open doors for you. I tell people relationships are more than currency. I know you hear it all the time, but it's a fact. Relationships will get you in doors that degrees can't get you into, that money can't get you into. You have to build genuine long-term relationships with people, and it starts all with serving and having a servant leadership mentality.
I love that. Giver's gain, y'all. I love that. That's important. Some key gems right there. So if you're just tuning in, make sure you rewind this episode and start from the beginning, because Dr. Ashley's been dropping gems from the beginning, not only on the ways to do it and the inspiration, but just you can feel the passion about pouring into others and elevating and creating spaces. And one of the things that I'm going to take away from this for sure is create your own table and allow others to have access to you that you want to bring in and have relationships with. So that's so key. I want to talk a little bit about women in leadership, because for me, I have 2 decades of experience in retail leadership. And I went through sort of a moment like you were talking about in terms of the lack of diversity in the corporate space, and dealing with that, not only as someone who's Black, but someone who's Black and a woman, and being very in her alpha, I'll say, right? And we have this whole now, especially with social media, alpha female versus the feminine female, and being your feminine energy. And for me, because I am so dominant and been in that leadership role for so long in my life, sometimes people don't understand it's just a hat that we wear that's been ingrained. It's almost a hat that has a strap, and we're always in a position of we're giving the direction. We're taking the lead. So sometimes it's hard to pull back from that if you've been in that space for so long. So what are some of the kind of like strategies or tips you would give to women who are watching right now and they're in a corporate space and they feel like they almost have to diminish their leadership to not be looked at as a threat, essentially, right? Because I think that's how we're viewed sometimes, as a threat in the workplace if we have the leadership role.
I would say this: know that you are there for a reason. You are meant to be there. It's a reason why you're there. But also remember, regardless of all the stuff that's going on around you, what are your goals? Because what people can't take from you is your education and the results. And that's what I had to learn, because I was, like you said it before, you like you said, you were doing it high and overachieving in there in that space. I was too. But what I had to remember, hey, if you the Kobe Bryant of the room, hey, stuff comes with that, right? But it took me a while to get there, because I was like, I'm producing, I got results, I'm doing this. Why is this happening to me, right? But that comes with it. I had to learn it. My mentor had to keep instilling that in me. That, hey, did you think when you got to the, you as you continue to grow and be successful, that it wasn't going to be some haters and some things were going to come with that? And I really had to learn that. And that's what I would tell any woman in that space in corporate America that's killing it and out here and then going through what we went through with discrimination as being a woman, to keep going. But also remember your why, and remember that you deserve to be in that room. And yes, it's going to be challenging. Yes, it's going to be days where you're going to question yourself. But remember, you are meant to be there, right? And that results, nobody can take them. Keep going, keep growing, keep producing, and it's going to open the door, because I'm a believer, definitely in God. What he has for you, can't nobody take it away. But we have to remember that they want us to react, but we got to learn not to react. They want us to, though, because hey, that's the normal thing with the black girl react, all that, right? We have to learn to not react, right? And when you don't react, it's going to confuse them anyway. So just remember why you're there, keep going, produce, and you don't have to worry about anything. And understand that, hey, it's only for a season. I had to remember that too when I was going through all the discrimination. It's only for a season. Was it hard? Yes. But I had to remember, hey, it's something so much more bigger for me to do. But I have to pass this test. Did I pass the test all the time? No, I repeated a couple of them. Okay. But we have to remember, we got to pass the test. Because it's just a test to something so much bigger. And now I have multiple companies that I own. But hey, I had to go through some stuff to get here. That's why I tell people, like, you never know people's story. It's a story behind everyone. So embrace it. Be happy for people. Celebrate others.
Right. I love that. I love that. Now let's talk about the big TEDx experience.
Yeah.
So was that a goal of yours to be on a TEDx stage? And what was that process like in terms of the preparation to actually getting on that stage, delivering the message, and how it impacted your life after?
Hey, it was an amazing experience. I talked about the power of networking and collaborating. That's something I'm very big on. I spoke about that. Preparing for it was because I had to keep it within 5 to 7 minutes. So, hey, that was kind of challenging, right? Preparing for it, getting the speech, like, okay, you want me to talk? Okay, let's figure this out, right? Let's think of another way, a short way to get my point across. So I would say that was definitely keeping the time in. But once I got on the stage, it was a great experience, right? It definitely was. It definitely changed my life in the speaking industry, because when you have TEDx on your name, it opens so many more doors for you, because, hey, that is a really big deal. And then having my TEDx be put on the TEDx website, that was a great experience too, to see the feedback I was getting about my topic and, what I chose to do. But it has opened doors. I tell everybody, whatever your goals are, go for it. If you want to, grow in the speaking industry, I recommend a TEDx, definitely, if you want to continue to grow, because it's going to open doors. And now I'm working on doing my own TEDx and bringing speakers to my stage, so, hey, it's growth there too.
I love that. And now for a TEDx speaker, do they seek you out, or do you have to pay to get on stage for a TEDx? What's the process for getting into this space?
So basically, you have different people that that host TEDx's throughout the country, and so everybody's process is different. Like some people, they have the people they want to reach out to their stage, and then you have people that they'll post it and say we have an informational speaking meeting, and they'll invite you to it, and then you will see what the process is of the qualifications that they're looking for, their topic that they want you to speak on, and then you will submit your application, and you'll go through application process to see if you got voted in, depending on who's hosting it. So I tell everybody, there's so many different ways to do it. When I do mine, I'm more than likely gonna open it up to the public and say, hey, come to the informational meeting and tell them the topic, and we'll see what happens from there. I'm big about opportunities and giving people opportunities and opening those doors. But for anybody that wants to get into it, definitely go check the TEDx website, see where different TEDx's are being held, and apply for those TEDx. And then also look on Instagram, Facebook, and different other social media outlets, because there's always other people that are hosting them too, and they're often promoting them on their platforms too, or they're looking for speakers or things like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love the information. Thank you. Wow, man, this was empowering. So, Dr. Ashley, let the audience know what you have going on right now.
Yes.
And where they can find you and find more information about how to work with you and come to your table and pour in or learn something from you.
Absolutely. You all can find me on Facebook at Dr. Ashley Little. You can find me on Instagram at _Ashley A. Little. My website is www.ashleylittlenterprises.com. And again, my website is www.ashleylittlenterprises.com. Also, you can go check out the HBCU Experience website as well, which is www.thehbcuexperiencemovement.com. I have some books getting ready to come out with different HBCUs that we're working with throughout the country, because what we're doing is creating endowments. We are the first Black-owned company to do this, right? To publish prominent HBCU alumni stories throughout the world. We're documenting these stories, we're leaving our legacies, and we're giving back. We're creating endowments because we don't want any more Morris Brown or Bennett College issues. So we want to create these endowments and put our money where our mouth is to increase HBCU enrollment and to increase alumni giving. So we got some great things coming out with that this year. I got more speaking opportunities. You're getting ready to travel more. Other collaborations are getting ready to happen. So it's going to be a great year. I said 2023 is the year of manifestation. It's the year of manifestation. I tell everybody, write it down. I'm telling you, everything I wrote down, I've seen it. There's power in it.
There's power in that. Make sure y'all write it down and take action. That's why this is the Imperfect Action Show, because the action is what's going to lead you to the result of the thoughts that you know you can get. So, Dr. Ashley Little, man, this was amazing. Thank you for being on this episode of the Imperfect Action Show. If you're just tuning in, you have to go back, rewind the episode once it posts, because we are live. Go back and listen to all the gems from the episode, and make sure you support Dr. Ashley Little and all the endeavors that she's doing in creating massive, massive change in our communities, especially in the HBCU space. So appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. We'll see you all on another episode of Imperfect Action Show.